All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Makak double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. This lesson is going to be going into how pretty much people don't know what the hell they're doing, man, in this world, because they try and live according to their own desires and their own way of being, man. And us as Israelites occasionally will do similar stuff like that as well also, right? But the thing is that we understand the end goal of what we're trying to do, which is to be able to live how God wants us to live. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. So we understand that the whole duty of a man on the earth is to keep God's laws. But if you look at what this world's trying to do, is they're trying to make themselves be more and more free and more exempt from rules that Yahweh has put within the world that he created, which is proud as hell to try and even think you can do that, because everything that you even know about and everything that exists and everything that you see and everything that you touch and every thought that you think has been given unto you by the Lord, and ultimately he's deceiving you into thinking the ways that you think and into doing the things that you do, but you don't know it because man's goings of the Lord. This is Job chapter 12 and verse 16. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. So a person that understands the Lord, right, that's given to them by God. And the people that understand the speech of a person that understands the Lord, that's given to them by God. Just the same way how as a person who deceives, right, that's been given to them by the Lord to come up with deceitful doctrines, deceitful ways of speech, right, to trick people. And the deceiver are his. So everyone's in it, man. The people that don't get it, that's been given to them by the Lord. The people that trick people and make people not get it, that's been given to them by the Lord. But when a man's living his life, he thinks he's doing something slick. He thinks he's doing something that somebody else, maybe born 200 years before him, 500 years before him, hasn't done also. Hasn't been given into that same deceitful tongue. And then ended up falling at the end of it also, man. This is Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? And the mind that we have, man, it's evil, man. And it's wicked and it's deceitful. And if we just go with whatever things we want to do within this world, we'll lose, man. If we just go with what our mind tells us to do, we're going to lose every single time. Every single time. And if we go with what we think is right, if we go with what we want to do, not with what the Lord wants to do, if we go with what we want to do, we're going to lose every time, man. Every single time. This is Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 7. Let me highlight that, man. Proverbs chapter 3 verse 7. Be not wise in thine own eyes, fear the Lord and depart from evil. Because if we start trying to look at what we think and be like, yeah, that makes sense, you know. Well, we're not God. If we're not using Yahweh's way, Yahweh's laws as a guide for what we're thinking and for what we're trying to do, then we're gonna lose, man. We'll lose. Let me go up to, in fact, Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. So when we're thinking about doing something, right, you might be about to try and start a new job, right, to try and change your financial situation or something like that, or to try and give yourself more free time, where you should pray and acknowledge Yahweh before you try and do that. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Because if what you're doing is not what path he wants you to take, or if you're not acknowledging him, but he could cause that thing to fail because you're trying to go about it and think that it's your way and that it's your will and that you're in charge of what's going on, when you're actually not. We're actually not in charge of ourselves, man. And that's why anything that we do, we should question and be like, man, is Yahweh with this? Or am I being a demon? Is Yahweh with this thing that I'm doing right now? Or is that the left hand side trying to guide me to think this? And you have to let me read the scripture. Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 24. Man's goings of the Lord, how can a man then understand his own way? And one of the easiest signs to try and see if what you're doing is off, right, is to see if people of the world are agreeing with you, man, and if they're cheering you on. So all these people that in the times past, man, and in that have went up to Hebrew Israelite camps and stuff like that, and they've been scoffing, shouting their mouth off, talking about I'm your biggest crowd all day, as if that's what the word of the Lord is about, right? All those people, they should have humbled down instantly as soon as they saw behind them a rally of unbelievers that believe all manner of different doctrines, right? There might be a Muslim there next to a Jehovah's Wickedness, next to an atheist, next to a bricklayer, next to a woman that's about thought life, being a hoe, right? Next to a man that's about just working a 9 to 5 and getting a mortgage, next to a woman that is trying to think she's a man and is about being a feminist, next to a bugged out Christian that doesn't know the scriptures, next to a guy that's a gangster 5 times a week and then goes to church on the other two, you know, next to people that are about nightclub life. And then all these people agree with each other when it comes to being up against you or up against the scriptures, Salakia. And then they're agreeing with that scoffer that's trying to come up against the scriptures. But any other day, they'd be against that person also. Any other day, they'd be against that person also. But because that person's coming up against the truth, they're cheering them on. And then these people get gassed up thinking that they got fans, thinking that they got some kind of cheerleaders, not realizing that they're in that same group of people that are non-believers, man, and ultimately are living in ways of death. It doesn't really matter if they're living some fake religion way, right? They still have ways of death anyway. Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 12. There's a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. And there's many people that are running around this earth that they're trying to got all these different philosophies and these different ways, right? You got all these different people that go into these in London in the speaker's corner, and they've got many different ways that they're saying and running their mouth, talking all these different things, spending hours down there talking, and then nothing ever changes. The other person don't stumble onto no one else's belief. It's just people trying to show that they're wise and thinking that, man, I got knowledge on what I'm talking about. That's what it is. Just them all trying to talk and try and show how smart they are, when really they're not smart anyway. Because if they were smart, especially the Israelites down there, man, if they were smart, they would have turned to the Lord. If they had the wisdom that mattered. This is Jeremiah chapter 9 and verse 23. Thus saith the Lord, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might, let not the rich man glory in his riches. And those 3 things right there, some of the main things that people glory in, man. A wise man, right, that knows and understands things. He might be in this world, he might be like a psychologist or something like that, right? And they'll start quoting about all these past people that have lived. Oh, well, Einstein said, and all that kind of talk. He might start quoting other men's sayings and stuff like that, right? He might have a suit on with a tie fastened hard around his neck, right? He's got a complete upright posture. There ain't no slouching in his shoulders, you know. The best posture going. When he talks, he might cross one leg over the other, and it doesn't hurt his hip because his body's accustomed to that stance. And he might have his fingertips touching the fingertips of his other hand as he's speaking. Then occasionally put his hand underneath his chin, and all the things he says, everyone's like, you know what? This guy's so deep. He's changed my life. He might make a book, bring a book out, and everyone just listens to whatever he's saying, man. Because he's got a good vocabulary and he sounds educated in the things that he's saying, yet hasn't been able to decide, yeah, God exists. He ain't been able to decide that, though. Neither let the mighty man glory in his might. There's guys out there Like, there's for all these people that think that they're tough and stuff like that, man. Like, if you was to travel the world enough, you're gonna meet a person that you know, no matter what category of battle it is, they'll destroy you. They'll destroy you, man. You'd end up seeing somebody like that that's just got everything carnal mastered. But even those men have not got the side of carnality that the Lord's prepared for people. And I'm going to read it right now. I'm going to read it right now, man. Because all these carnal guys that think they're so tough, well, what are they going to do during this time? What are they going to do in this time? This is Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. And that's what ancient wars were. When people run into battle, right? They might have a battle axe in one hand, a shield in the other. They might be dodging arrows as they're running up to the enemy. There might have been catapults getting shot off, arrows with fire at the end of the tip. People throwing spears. Having to run up to the battle, dodging holes in the ground, right? Then they get to the other opponent and they're having to just one hit, one kill people. Having to just fight through the army, and they got one of their own soldiers to the left and the one to the right, and they're just running through people, man. And then they do all right for the first 10 bodies, but then now they come up against somebody that's now got the upper hand on them, and then they lose their life, and then now that person's got the juice and they're going through doing the thing, and then they slip and miss, and now they get taken out. And that's why he's trying to think you're the top carnal guy. He's perfect, to be honest with you, because you know how easy it is for a person to lose a fight if the odds are against them good enough. Just one day you might be a person that trains and all that kind of stuff, and you might be that person. But one day, right, you might have lifted too much on a lift or something like that, and you injure your back. And now, because you've been running around your life beating everyone up, now on the one day that your back's injured, now someone's going to come and get you. Or you might be a person that thinks that you're some kind of gangster and you're shooting up everyone, right? Like for those gangster guys that try and live that life, they might run around shooting everyone up, right? And then now they get arrested and they're in prison and they get put into a place where there ain't no guns and they just get leveled off with a right hook for their first day as they get put in the prison, man. Because there ain't no gun there and they ain't got that side of carnality mastered. And that's why there's no point trying to glorify how tough you think you are, because Yahweh's getting ready for a battle that ain't even about that anyway. He's getting ready, he's preparing a battle that's about flames and fire. Let me read it again. Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So a tough guy ain't doing nothing to that in that day. He ain't gonna do nothing. And the scriptures say that even the man's gonna, you know what? Let me read it, man. Let me read it. Lest people say that I'm talking at my own heart. This is Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 6. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned to paleness. And I remember when that fire happened in Grenfell Tower, man. And there was one guy, I believe he was like a Cushite, man. And I remember him, like, he started crying because of all the people that he saw dying in that flames, man. And he was pretty much travailing, man. Like, he broke down and was like, I saw so much, man. And he couldn't handle what he saw, man. I believe he said he saw, like, people getting burnt and stuff, and he saw people trying to jump out the building, man. And that hurt him to the soul, man. Verse 7, alas, for that day is great, so that there is none like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So all you Israelites, man, this is who this video is for. You Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Israelites. All you people that are thinking that you just got it together. The Lord's going to show you all. He's going to show us all, even too, that you're only going to get by if I've had mercy on you. So it's not even gonna. It does matter about works. Faith without works is dead. It does matter about works, but even for every single work that we've did, That's the price that is been given for us to barely make it if we make it, man. It's not like when the day of the Lord comes, the Lord's gonna be like, okay, you filled out everything that I said you was gonna do, so you're not gonna see no harm, nothing's gonna come close to taking you away. You're not gonna experience no hardship at all. The day of the Lord, you're not gonna experience no hardship at all whatsoever. I'm just gonna beam you up right now, and you're just gonna be chilling with me. That's not what's about to happen. It's gonna be real close to getting destroyed every like on a continual basis until you get beamed up, man. If you're lucky enough to receive that, but you're gonna be protected from all of those things. But that don't mean you're not gonna see none of the evil, man, because we're seeing evil right now, and that's what I mean, man. People don't really they don't really consider these things, man. The everyday person in the world does not consider that they're about to see some things that they never thought they was gonna ever see before in their life, man. That they never thought they could ever possibly see that. Just like how people didn't ever think that they could possibly ever see football getting stopped. They didn't ever think that they could see McDonald's, which has been a continual fixture since they was born, right? They never thought that they'd ever see that close down. They never thought that they'd ever not be able to go and watch Wigan play football, or Chelsea, you know, or the Blues. But that happened though. Jeremiah chapter 9 and verse 24, but let him that glorieth glory in this. So this is where we're supposed to glory. That you understand and know of me, that I am Yahweh, which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth, for in these things I delight, saith the Lord. And people don't understand the Lord. They don't know that the Lord made evil. They don't know that. This is Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. So when there's peace, right, the Lord made there be peace. When there's evil, the Lord made there be evil. Carrying on in the scripture, I, the Lord, do all these things. So people don't understand that the Lord does stuff like that. They think that he's like, man, they're not even very clear with what they think, man. To be honest with you, that's another thing about this world. Everyone's quick to come up against a Hebrew Israelite and about what they think and say what it ain't. But they're not quick to say what it is, though. Everyone can come around. It don't mean that. You're changing it. You're interpreting it your way. Well, what is the way then? What is the way? How about you don't say what it ain't and you say what it is? Or how do you know you're interpreting? Well, what way is it then? What way do you say it is? That's what they're quick to do, man. A bug out Christian, man. That's what I'm talking about when I say what I just said then. A bug out Christian's always quick to say that what it ain't talking about. But you never quickly hear them say what it is talking about, though, dear. This is 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 6. The Lord killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. People don't even consider that the Lord is the person that decides every single death. When there's someone dies, the Lord decided that they was going to die. Every single time. Verse 7, the Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. So when a person's poor and you're mocking him and you're laughing, but that guy is trying his best to do certain things and that guy believes in the Lord and you're mocking him, right? And he's saying, oh, I'm under curses, and you're saying, oh, he's just making an excuse. Well, you're being a demon. And the Lord's been watching you from heaven when you're mocking people that speak his word and mocking how they look. You're mocking their hairline, right? You're mocking the way that they're dressed because they're not trying to glitter up their fashion. Even though it's not that, some of the times it's not even because the person can't afford the clothes, man. Like how this world thinks. And even if it is that way, so what, man? So what? What should they be? What should a person be prophesying in? Some fucking Yeezys. And so lucky for the speech, man. But this world and how they think and how they've got things, how they think things are supposed to happen in their mind is all over the place, man. Verse 7 again. The Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up. So when a person's in a low position that the Lord's put them in, He's put them in there because he's correcting them in a lot of cases. But when he lifts them up out of that position, and this is for you women, man, this is what I'm about to read right now. A lot of you women have been running around this earth and you're seeing men that believe in the Lord, and you see that in your eyes, you're like, man, they're dusty and all of this. But if that man was to clean up his image and start preaching the word, you'd only fake to try and be about the word anyway, because now you want some of his money. If he was to get a heavenly looking garment, you would be like, well, he's what he's saying is true now. You'd pretend and fake it because you think he's got some money that you can try and finesse off him. That's what you women try and do these days, right? You want to finesse men. You want to get the bag, right? This is Micah chapter 7 and verse 10. Then she that is mine enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her which said unto me, where is Yahweh thy power? Mine eyes shall behold her. So we're going to get to see women that was scoffing. Men are going to get to see women that were scoffing, man. Now she shall be trodden down as the mire of the streets. So it's not going to be no good times. And that's because Yahweh's going to lift men up and bring the woman down. Because the woman right now is proud, man. Extremely, extremely proud. And I'm not going to say anything else on him, man. It's not worth it right now, man. It's not worth it to keep mentioning them all the time, man. Even though the spirit is heavy on them from the Lord to keep roasting and rebuking you women for being demons, man. You know what? I'm going to end the lesson there. Man. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Akakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. Shalom.